Good evening. The opinions and statements voiced by our guests do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this network. Enjoy the shows.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk radio.
Listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Since 1948, Fate Magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
The time is 23 minutes after the hour. Welcome to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. You are listening to Paranormal Experienced with Kat Hobson. That's me. I have to tell you that I am so excited about tonight's show. I know that y'all are all familiar with Shelly Robertson as the host of Ghost Talk Radio right here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting on Friday nights. But she also owns the Old Paulding Jail. She's the founder of 187 PI. She is a woman of integrity who has dedicated a lot of her life to paranormal research. And I'm very excited that we're going to be able to talk tonight about that work being recognized, about the Old Paulding Jail, which she owns, being recognized. And we're just going to let her elaborate on that a little bit. And I do want to also let people know that we are so glad you're here. I know that Wednesday night is a busy night. It's Ash Wednesday. And thank you very much for supporting us, because this show is going to rock your socks. So, Shelly, hi.
Hello, good to be here.
I'm so glad you're here because this is a great big day for you. Well, actually, it's been a huge week.
It has. They just, Travel Channel just announced the airing date, and they, I don't know exactly what all they got, so I'll be watching the show with everyone else. But it was compelling enough for them to make it a 2-hour season premiere. So I'm so excited about that.
And the show is Portals to Hell?
Yes. And it's on Travel Channel. The airing date is Friday the 13th, March 13th at 9 p.m. And it stars Jack Osbourne and Katrina Weidman. Weidman, yeah.
I'm not sure how you pronounce that either. I just had always thought it was Weidman, so I'm probably the wrong one there.
I know.
But,
I just call her Katrina. So, I've never, I don't know. I've never addressed her by her last name. So I'll have to ask her pronunciation.
Well, I don't think she cares as long as you call her politely, right?
Yeah, yeah.
She seems to be a charming young woman.
Oh, actually, she is so lovely. And Jack is too, actually.
So how long have you been sitting on this non-disclosure agreement with this kind of excitement in your life that you were going to explode from?
The tail end of September.
Wow.
Last September. Yeah. So they were at the jail for a week. And I will tell you, Austin and Elaine and all the production crew, they were just so fabulous.
Well, that is nice because you don't always hear these things.
Oh, yeah. And and it's funny because a lot of things happened. And obviously, the investigation part of it, I'll be watching it for the first time too. So I am just so excited to see what all they got.
They didn't give you the scoop before they left?
Not fully. No. They did have an exit interview, and I'll wait for the airing. I don't want to, spoil the beans for anybody, but I don't know what all evidence they acquired.
Well, I can't wait to see because, as you well know, this is one of my two. I can't say it's my very favorite because I might offend somebody else, but you know the truth. So,
yeah.
It's the most intensely haunted place I have ever been in my life. And I'm not saying that just to blow smoke up anybody's skirt. This place is off the chain active. I have had so many experiences in there that some of them surprised me. I've been doing this for over a decade. I was stunned by some of the things that have happened in your jail. To me personally, not even counting the things that happen that I hear other people talk about.
Yes, and I can tell you it's when you talk about a place like this, it's hard for people to fathom or to believe, but there's only been, and I've owned the jail for 5 years now, and I've spent a lot of time there, and I can tell you there's only been maybe 3 or 4 nights out of 5 years that they weren't active. Is that craziness?
That's amazing.
I can about count on it. I can about count on them talking or something happening.
And they do talk. I mean, they talk where you can hear them.
They do. And we had somebody visit the building last weekend, and Vincent, my husband, was giving this guy a tour. And of course, everybody's always wanting to catch something if they step in the building because we tell them it's so haunted. So they were in the attic for maybe 3 minutes, And the sheriff spoke out and said, "I'm here." So, and they were running a recorder, so they got that. And I'm like, and you were there for 3 minutes. It's a really, really active place.
Unbelievable. You know, it's not unbelievable. It really isn't, because I have experienced that. But it is surprising simply because they're so communicative, and it's so spot on topic with, you know, with what is happening around you and what is happening, you know. I mean,
I have seen questions, like I'll follow some other groups, investigations and such, you know, and I've seen people ask questions like, "Do you think they can see in color?" I can tell you for 100% certainty, they can see in color.
Isn't that neat? You know,
It is.
It is the place that when you go to a location, you hope you're going to find this.
Mm-hmm,
You know,
mm-hmm.
it is like a treasure trove. And
I'll tell you, and there was some other things I see people asking, you know, other teams and under other paranormal postings. If, for example, if they know what's going on in today's world, they do. They absolutely do.
that's true.
They talk to us, and they know who the president is. They know, they knew the kids were having a prom at the high school. They are so aware. It's crazy. It's almost like they're just like we are without a body. I'm going to stand beside that, you know?
I would agree with that, because, you know, people who listen to your show on Friday nights are always surprised when you're live from there. If usually I don't say very much when we're getting set up to go live with you.
Yes.
They always know if I'm there or not. I mean, they've call me
hollered out.
And
Cat Hobson.
Yeah, that's Cat.
They know they know hair colors. They can see you, and I'm working on a way to be able to see them. And there's conversations going back and forth, and you can't get it all at once. It's like when they feel like talking about it, then they'll talk about that. But to be able to see them, they're telling me that they need a power grid. So now I'm trying to figure out what that is, but I think it's got to be some freestanding power source. It can't be something that's already anchored to the jail. So my idea in the infirmary cell is to build a Tesla wheel, of course, have it grounded. And everybody's
please do have that grounded.
Everybody is so scared to death. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you're going to electrocute us all." I'm like, I think it has a good chance of working, because we found that we can capture their image with FLIR during storms, but they have a hard time vocalizing during the storms. That is just wild. And you know,
that is the direct opposite of what people assume.
I know. And if you have ever messed with a thermal camera like a FLIR, if you've ever messed with one of those cameras and you look at a person, it looks like a big red blob and maybe some yellow spots where the person's cooler or something, but no discerning, distinguishable features, right? On the FLIR photos from the entities, there is absolutely facial features and stuff. It's pretty wild.
Well, that is pretty wild. Lori in chat says Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah. And I was thinking about doing a Jacob's Ladder, and I think it would have to be a substantial size, go big or go home kind of thing. So kind of working on plans with that too, because I think if it's big enough, or maybe if you have a setup where there's 3 of them arcing together or something, we might be able to generate enough power that they need so that we can see them. That's what they need. They need power.
More power.
Yes.
So.
Yes. That's what they're telling me.
Well, I would take it to the bank because they are very communicative. And, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I have investigated in another facility that is a designated paranormal research center.
Yeah.
I have another friend who owns one or runs one in Arizona, the Copper Canyon.
Okay.
So, I haven't been to that yet. I'm working on that. But it's just really fascinating to me that these spirits are wanting this to happen as much as the living are wanting this to happen. They want to open a line of communication.
Oh, I would agree with that.
I mean, they want it badly, just like you do.
And funny thing of it is, when I first got the building, they would call my name out all the time. I have recordings and recordings and recordings. You could hear it with disembodied. You could hear it. And they said they knew I was coming. Yeah. So I guess I'm where I'm supposed to be. There's a question in chat. Denise has, what are you using to get information from spirits? Ghost boxes, apps, EVPs. I'm using EVPs. I also use a portal. And believe it or not, we get lots of disembodied voices.
Yes.
Where we don't need any equipment at all.
And I'm going to tell you that to me that was very disconcerting because I hadn't had a lot of that before I came there.
Uh-huh.
And the first time I came to your jail, I came with an event company. And it was still crazy, even with all those people in there. And the evidence that I got was substantial. So when we became good friends and I started going just like to hang out with you, and we did a live show from there and things of that nature, it was very interesting. Well, that was when I had one of my most extreme experiences that I've ever had, and I'm not going to share that right now because I have shared it before and people are probably tired of hearing it. But but it truly was a disconcerting moment in time. I just couldn't believe it.
Well, I've always been so respectful to him.
Yes.
To all the ghosts there, and I know that at the end of the day, ultimately, the sheriff runs the show up there.
Yes, he does.
And I am good with that. So, I announce I'm coming up. I have just conversations with him that's not even on the ghostly realm.
I know, right?
Just everyday kind of stuff. Hey, do you know what's happening right now? Just like you would a friend.
Yes.
And
well, when we come back from this break, I want to tell them about what happened when Vincent and I were getting everything ready for Gary's birthday party, because that's hilarious. And it's a good example of that too. But thank y'all for being here, and we will be right back after this break. I hope it's a good one. Y'all enjoy.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Several U.S. presidents are on record talking about the UFO mystery.
Yeah, Presidents Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan both had UFO sightings of their own, but the current presidential campaign might be the first in which UFO disclosure has been championed by a major party candidate.
DIA, CIA, it moves around, is operating a program to train psychic spies to spy and use their powers against Russia. John Ronson writes about this in The Men Who Stare at Goats.
The first known sighting of a ghost took place right after Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in the late 1860s during the administration of Ulysses Grant.
Project Paperclip, Clinton releases it all in 1998.
Possibly the unequal cooling of its surface.
I say, do you still think it's a meteor, Professor?
I don't know what to think. The metal casing is definitely extraterrestrial.
It's a place where UFO hunters and scientists gather to examine paranormal activity in the region.
Some of the documents, this is bringing Nazi scientists into the United States to work here. So we fought against the Nazis, and it's not, this again is not a revelation. As early as 1947, 1946, we knew some of this, right?
On the paranormal, will we see U.S. President Barack Obama's foreign policy go intergalactic in a quest for gold stolen by aliens? We'll tell you at least how the White House responded to claims the chief executive has been teleporting to Mars. But let's get to today's Capitol account.
UFOs, hauntings, psychic abilities, conspiracy, ESP, cryptozoology. There are many things that remain unexplained in the inexplicable world around us, and we're talking about them here, looking for answers on WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama. The truth is out there.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour. Welcome back to Paranormal Experience with Kat Hobson, that's me, and my guest tonight, Shelly Robertson. We are talking about her facility, the Old Paulding Jail, the extraordinarily haunted Old Paulding Jail in Paulding, Ohio. And we were talking about some of the communications that we have with the spirits there. And do you care if I share about Gary's birthday party?
No, that's fine.
Because Shelly's husband, Vincent, and I were in the kitchen. I had driven up from Alabama, and we were getting ready to do a cookout and an investigation to celebrate the life and death, the birth and death date of one of the former inmates at the jail who haunts it. His name is Gary Murray. And Vincent and I were in the kitchen slicing and dicing all the vegetables to put on the burgers and to just munch on and stuff. And the portal was running, because it often is, because they do communicate. And while Vincent and I are talking, somebody is interjecting into our conversation. And so I'm just responding to both of them as we're going along. And Vincent, who does not care to hear them talk, is like very uncomfortable. Very uncomfortable. And it was almost like the spirit knew that, but he just had so much to say that it kept happening. And I love that it never fails that they know how to utilize equipment and communicate in case they run across somebody who cannot receive. I love that.
And it's funny because a lot of times Vincent wears his headphones and listens to music when he's working in the jail because he doesn't like them talking up in his ear. And I think they know that because because there's times we'll have the portal on and Vincent will come in the room and they'll holler out, Vincent! And he's like, bye now. and he goes to the office or somewhere else.
And they do kind of leave him alone in the office. I have found that to be almost a safe zone. It's a very odd thing.
Every once in a while, we'll get the sheriff in there.
Well, yeah.
But, but as far as the rest of them, I don't think too many of them, at least I'm not aware, Well,
I found it interesting that when I was having my experience in the first floor cell block, that everything, stomping, doors slamming that weren't moving, which was the weirdest thing ever, and, banging and anger and all this other stuff was happening. And the second, and messing with electronics too.
Oh, yes.
And the absolute second I stepped across the threshold coming out of that cell block, everything quieted and my electronics worked perfectly.
I'll tell you something. I run that portal a lot of times in the kitchen, and it's just outside that cell block, right? Mm-hmm. It's a lot of them, even just transients, will come through and they'll have conversation. But when I want to have a meeting with the ghosts, like, when we're going to have an event or something's going on, I go to that cell block because I think they all are listening there. You know what I mean?
I would agree with that. That's like Ghost Central.
Yes, and that's where I talk to them all at the same time. Like, hey, you guys, we got an event tonight. You're the star of the show. People are coming here to see you. Will you interact and cooperate? And they answer, and
which is the strangest thing ever.
Yes, and I always, I think it's respectful just to, it's not so you're like using them to jump through hoops. You're asking for man, hoping that they'll play ball, so to speak, whatever.
I do know. And,
and they're good about it. They're real good about it. And I think that is the whole ticket of it. Respect.
Yes. Well, if they don't get respected, they certainly have ways of letting you know that they don't appreciate it.
Oh, yes, yes.
And Lori Dorsey says, unless she's there, LOL.
Well, for some reason, there's somebody in the mix up there that just isn't a fan of Lori. But, the sheriff loves her. So
the sheriff loves her because they were on the same side in their careers.
Yes, and the sheriff runs things around there. So, it's all good.
Well, if you're going to have somebody on your side, I say that he's the guy you want.
Oh, yeah. And people, I had a question. Do they communicate good through, and what is that, Echo Box? Mm-hmm. I've never used one of them. And I've tried a couple of different apps, but I typically don't use apps.
I don't like them either.
I feel that anything that's programmed by a person somehow,
can be tainted.
That's right. And so I don't have much stock in apps. I don't use those. Brenda says, I've probably asked this before, but what was the most frightening episode for Shelly at the jail? Oh, golly. Have you
ever been afraid?
There was, not actually afraid, but there was one time I was a little uneasy, and I get startled. I get startled a lot, don't get me wrong, because when you have disembodied voices talking out right next to you and you're not expecting it, that is startling. And I'm like, oh, and it makes me laugh because I actually get startled. But I think one of the most unnerving times was the first year I'd bought the jail. For probably the first year and a half, I didn't sleep there, or I wasn't even there by myself. I always had somebody there with me, or several people there with me. I happened to be there by myself all day and most of an evening. And the whole building was just so noisy. Everything was banging and slamming. And it's like, holy crap, you know? And one other kind of unnerving time was, it's really creepy taking a shower there. I was in the building by myself. I was taking a shower, and we have a motion doll in the second floor office. It's kind of like a trigger object, and it works by motion only. It's really hot. So I had my towel, and I went from the shower room, which was so sweaty, I couldn't even get dressed. I walk in a towel to the office, and I'm getting dressed, and I'm just finishing getting dressed. And I hear that motion doll go off, and I'm like, holy shit. Oh. So oops, sorry about that.
That would have been my reaction too, though.
So I roll the cameras back. I'm like,
I'm going to make you edit that.
Yeah, I need to see if somebody got in the building or something, because I was like, so I'm rolling the cameras back. I see the doll go off. I can't see anything there. But as I'm doing this, it sounded like somebody ran down the hallway past the office. And I'm like, thank goodness I was dressed. So, yeah.
Brenda wants to know, did you flash them?
Well, you know.
Could have.
I could have. So now I just either take a fan in the shower room or whatever, you know. Yeah. I don't come out of the shower room in my towel anymore and dress elsewhere.
I would not ever do that. So, and I'll tell you that people were just so surprised when when they learned that when I come up there, I spend the night there, and that I, bathe there. Even Toby, your brother, who is part of your team, was shocked. So yeah. I was just like, are you that freaked out by what's here, huh?
I mean, I will tell you, the room that you typically sleep in, I'll nap in that history room, that front room, but I only actually sleep in one place in the building.
Yeah.
Because I think being half asleep or trying to go to sleep and hear them talking out, that's a little too much for me. So,
well, they don't talk to me when I'm in there, because the first night was the night that all of that occurred, and we had a full week. We had been at Scarefest, and then I drove over from Lexington to come and do the live show. Everything was just a little hectic, but wonderful, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so after that incident, once it was time to go to bed, I got my shower, I got everything situated, and because I was leaving the next morning. And when I went to bed, they were in there. And I just put my hand up, and I was like, I am tired. I have a long drive tomorrow, and I have got to get some sleep. And you are going to have to respect that. And,
yeah.
So, and they did. They stayed in the room because I kept seeing, shadow play, and I felt them in there with me. But there was no more talking.
Well, and they're real good about that for me. They don't come in my sleeping room at all.
Well, I think if I'd have asked them not to, they probably wouldn't have.
Yeah.
But, it's really weird because I don't tell people that I experience the audibles and stuff like that as a rule. I prefer to have evidence. I prefer to have audio files that, correlate my experiences. But it was just so interesting because You would have to run a recorder 24/7, walking around with it in your hand to catch everything that's happening there. But that night, they were very, very active.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that they were trying to make up a little bit, too.
Yeah, because they did calm down. They gave us the area we could be at, and after that, they calmed down.
Did you know it was
something here in my house?
Well, that doesn't happen much. Tell them to behave.
Yeah.
And now, I do want you to tell people why that took you aback. Because you don't like that.
Yeah, I have a spirit in my house. I'm at my house right now, and it's been here from the time I moved in. And occasionally, some of them follow me from the jail, and I don't like them to talk here. I've had a couple of incidences where they talk, and I'm like, not here. You can't talk to me here. You have to talk to me at the jail. So yeah, it's somebody's been here kind of frequently this whole week, and yeah, somebody's here now.
I think they're excited right now. They know this is happening.
Yeah, and it's funny because I live in a haunted house, but I don't want them talking to me here. I mean, I'm okay with them. Yeah, I'm okay with them traveling the staircase. They do that all the time. They walk through. Stuff gets moved, and I'm okay with all of that. Just don't talk to me here. It makes it too, what do you want to call it? Personal? Like,
yes.
Yeah, I'm going to say that.
It's your private space. Yeah. Everybody needs a safe space.
So,
and they recognize that.
And it's okay. Just don't talk. And it's funny because the first time we built the portal, I was really reluctant. We built it here at home, got all the parts in. One of the parts had to come from Japan. So I'm talking to Vincent, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I want to test that here because I don't want the talking here, because you have to have a place to be free from it, right? And so he's like, well, just turn it on and see it, make sure all the parts work, and we'll turn it back off. Funny thing. Put it all together. We turned the portal on, and it didn't make no kind of noise at all. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what's wrong with this? Which part's broken? I'm like, I can't believe this. I hope it's not the part from Japan, because there was nothing, no sound at all. I'm like, I don't know what to do. And he's like, well, just wait, and this weekend we'll take it to the jail. He said, you already told him you don't want him talking here. Don't you know? We took it to the jail, and voila. That was the craziest thing ever. I mean, the scan from the SV7 wasn't even coming through. No noise at all.
Really?
What do you make of that?
No white noise?
Yes.
No nothing?
No, nothing.
Now, see, I did not know that. I knew that it wouldn't communicate with you, but I didn't know that even the SB7 wouldn't make a sound. Nope. That's bizarre.
Nothing worked.
That's radio frequencies. That should always work.
I'm like, wow, I don't even know what. Yes. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with this portal. I just spent hundreds of dollars on parts, He's like, just calm down. We'll take it to the jail. They're not supposed to talk to you here, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, all right.
I'm sorry. I think that's brilliant. That is so funny.
The people find it amazing that we do birthday parties for the spirits. If we know their birthday and stuff, I would have been doing birthday parties for them. And oh my goodness, we get such great responses from the spirits and ex-transients or friends of theirs that come to the parties. So we did one for the sheriff last fall, and I built a hologram machine for him, and Lori Dorsey was at this this birthday party, and so was Vicki Briggs. And let me tell you, the sheriff enjoyed the hologram, and he was up there tapping his feet to the music we had, because I chose tunes from when he was young,
right,
to play. And Vicki and Lori was like, "Give us a wave," and he waves at him because they were running the SLS camera, and it was talking off the chain. There was people there that had been friends with the sheriff, during their lifetimes that showed up. Very, very, just amazing.
Every time we do anything there, it's just amazing. But that is the one that I cannot believe I missed that. I was so disappointed.
Well,
but the evidence was astounding.
Oh, yeah. Lori's got some great evidence from that night, too. And when we did the one for young Nancy, oh, my gosh, she just loved all the music. And we had SLS cameras from different positions catching the same stuff.
Which is pretty much unheard of.
Yes, Lori was there at that one too, and that was a really, really good, if you want to say paranormal investigation, but really birthday party.
Right.
The person who visited the jail over the last weekend, they were just amazed that I did a room in the third floor for Audrey. He's like, that is like above and beyond. I'm like, well, I know she's here and she hides, so I feel that she needs a safe space for her, I
agree with that. Now, this is a child spirit, and we're going to have to talk about her when we come back from our break because it's time. And I think she's just a very interesting spirit, and I love that she is sheltered and protected by other spirits there. So with that, we are going to be back. Thank you so much for being here, and we hope you'll come back with Shelly Robertson too. We are talking Old Paulding Jail in Paulding, Ohio. It's an amazing place. We'll catch you on the flip side.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Welcome back to WBHM Digital Broadcasting. I am Kat Hobson. I'm your host here on Paranormal Experienced, with my guest, Shelly Robertson. Shelly owns the Old Paulding Jail, and we have been talking about the the spirits and activity levels there. And we were just talking about a young girl who is a spirit there. And she's a child. She presents as a child, and I think she really is one. And one of the psychics, Garrett, who has been there, says that she was a transient when she was alive, and when she passed, for whatever reason, she feels safe there. I find that interesting.
I can see that.
That's logical.
Well, I can see that, because I will tell you, the sheriff seems to be pretty protective over her.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely looks out for Audrey. That's her name. And she's 10 years old. And for her, the year is 1923. And I've been trying to figure out who she is, where she came from, and it's coming so slow.
I know, and you don't really have the patience for that. You do, but you're so concerned about her that you feel a need to communicate with her.
I want to know where she came from.
Yes, and why she's alone.
Yes, and she said she's not with her mom and dad, and so obviously they've moved on, and she was cowering in the attic oftentimes, so we turned the evidence room back into a bedroom, and it's done up specifically for her. And we don't know the lady's name. She will not tell it to us. She talks with us, but she will not tell us her name, so we refer to her as Miss Lady. When I was up there painting, and it was like July and so hot, we were painting you that.
I thought you were going to pass out.
Oh, it was so hot up there. And I'd run the portal when I'm up there, of course, and Miss Lady would come on, "You're painting, yay." And I said, "Do you like it? Doesn't it look great for Audrey?" And the spirits are happy about it, even. We've caught Audrey on the SLS sitting at her little vanity, and it's lovely. It makes me happy.
Well, it is. And, you know, I think that's one of the reasons that your facility is so special. And I am going to put out there that I have investigated other paranormal research centers because of the care, compassion, and concern that the volunteers have for the spirits there. Just like what you share, I think you're a little bit more heavily vested, but it is just beautiful because when you build these relationships, and they are relationships, I don't care what people's outlook on that is. If you see it and you experience it, these truly are relationships. And
they really are.
And I think that's what makes them so active as well because, you know, I'm going to name it. You don't mind, do you?
Oh, no.
The Old South Pittsburgh Hospital is closest to me. It's only about a 2-hour drive. I love that facility. And I love the compassion and concern that the volunteers have for that place. And, you know, they are the reason Ronnie D bought it. But the volunteers who work there are the reason that it still has its heart and soul because the spirits recognize what they do. They recognize Ronnie. They respect that. There is not a single person that works up there that is not totally into making it a comfortable place for the spirits and making sure that they're sheltered and protected, just like you. So,
yes.
You know, if you get a chance to go to one of these places and do an investigation, you are going to experience this as a rule because they're consistent.
And another thing is, I think, I've had people come during investigations and they're like, but these people, some of these ghosts here might have been criminals. I said, yeah, but you know what? They've done their time, and who are we to judge? If they're respectful I have a safe place for them. I don't allow provoking. Can you ask difficult questions? Yes, in a respectful manner, because I do it all the time.
And they'll respond if you're respectful.
Yes, they will. Even to difficult questions like, when we try to talk to Charlie and ask him about, whatever. It's non-judgmental. If they're respectful, I think they deserve a safe place just like anyone else,
Safe places are hard to come by, living or dead, I think.
Yes. And I'm vocal that they're all welcome as long as they're respectful. They're all welcome. And we get a fella and his little boy that come through now and again. They're not there all the time. They're travelers, and his name is Steve, and his little boy's name is Matt. And do we get to talk to him every single time? No, they just come when they want to come, and they'll tell you who they are. And Steve always says howdy, and that's how we know, oh, it's you, Steve, because that's how he talks to us,
Right. Do you know, and I've never asked you this, but I've always been curious, do you know what time frame they're from?
Well,
do you have a sense of that?
I had gotten from Audrey, I asked her, I said, what year is it for you? And I got 1923 for her.
Right.
Some of the spirits that we talked to, they were, I don't know the year, but they were shoveling coal. And it was making such a racket over the portal, and I'm like, what is going on? And one of them piped up and said they were shoveling coal. And this was in August. And I'm like, it's so hot here. Why are you shoveling coal? And they told me that they were getting ready for winter.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm like, well, now that they said they were shoveling coal, that's kind of what it sounded like. And I'm like, well, I guess if you do that stuff by hand and you got to stock up, I don't know. That was bizarre.
That kind of is. Lori had mentioned in the Spreaker chat that they can make phone sounds, like cell phone sounds. I've actually heard an old school phone ring in the jail. So,
well, I'll tell you, I've had music, it sounded like an old time music box. And that was just going through the building one time. And I went outside. The neighborhood was so quiet. I tried to find the location where it might be the strongest. I couldn't find where it was coming from, but it was like really old time music box music in there. Well, that's happened a couple of times. And I'm like, well, what was that? And who's playing that music?
That's just weird.
I know there are tunes from today's world they don't appreciate.
But they know how to manipulate a radio, because I had it come up in my memory and tagged you last week when I left the jail after that experience. It was so funny because I always listen to No Shoes Radio because it is such an eclectic mix of music. I just love it. So I'm sitting there. I'm in my car. This has happened one other time, and it was also paranormal in nature. But my Sirius skipped. It stopped the song it was playing. It started playing another song, and I looked down at my screen, and it was Alison Krause's Ghost in This House. And I took a picture of that and sent it to you and said, are they telling me bye or running me off? But that came up in my memories this week, as a matter of fact, which I found really funny. So it's just, they have a sense of humor. They know how to manipulate today's technology. They know how to mess with your car. And, that actually gave me pause, because if they could mess with the radio in my car, everything on a car nowadays is electronic.
Well, I'll tell you.
Don't irritate them.
They mess with the audio stuff that plays at the jail. They, especially if it's something they don't like. I've played. I have a video on my Facebook page and it's on 187 PI's Facebook page. You probably have to scroll down pretty ways for it, but I have a video where I'm playing some music. I like this old group from the 90s, SWB, and somebody there doesn't like that CD, and every time I play it, something happens. Either the audio gets stopped, and it's a CD, so it gets stopped midway, or I've had things thrown, and I'm like, they don't like it.
That's funny. And they're so strong with their opinions.
They are. The weirdest EVP, it wasn't even an EVP. I was running the voice recorder, and one of my team members, Rhonda, she was at the jail. We were working on something that night. And I typically will run equipment if we're just not even investigating, because they talk all the time.
Right.
So I wasn't running the portal or anything. I was just running. I had a voice recorder running to see if anybody chimes in, because they disembodied all the time. They'll catch their voices. And we thought we heard something coming from the kitchen. So I played my voice recorder back. This is the weirdest disembodied comment I've ever got at the jail. And it said this: "You absolutely fed me dead meat."
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, oh my gosh, what does that mean?
Better than live meat.
All meat is dead. What does that mean?
That's weird.
Yes, that's the craziest disembodied sentence we'd ever got.
That's almost alarming.
I know. I was. We're like, what does that mean? Isn't all
taken
meat,
aback?
Isn't all meat dead? What is going on? And who's they talking to? Yeah.
Well, you know what? They are. Maybe that's a. They were just so shocked or upset. Maybe they were vegan, and they were like, "Oh my God, why did you do that?"
Yeah, because we might have had ribs that night or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, that was like, that is the strangest thing any of them up there's ever said.
Well, that would be strange if they were living, I'm going to tell you. So, although I can see somebody being upset about that. If you violated their lifestyle, that was all there was to eat.
Well, sure. But yeah, so we get, oh gosh, I could just go on and on and on the stuff that happens. They don't like it if I'm upset up there. They'll bang stuff to get my attention away from whatever's made me not happy. It's loud enough something going on where it makes me stop what I'm doing and go find out what happened. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I'm not upset anymore. Because if something doesn't work right, I get agitated.
No. Surely
I
you
do.
jest. Well, we are going to be coming back because we're at our top of the hour break. This is going to be a few minutes. It's the news break. And I'm hoping for a little good news. I don't know about y'all. So maybe we'll find some. Y'all come back because we will. We'll catch you.
Support for NPR programming comes from the NPR Shop, where you can satisfy your public radio obsession with our Public Radio Nerd Collection. From mugs and hoodies to socks and magnets, let your nerd flag fly at 10% off using Shop NPR10 at shop.npr.org.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Speer. President Donald Trump, speaking at the White House a short time ago, sought to allay public fears about the coronavirus and its effect on the U.S. Trump also pushing back against those who say his administration isn't doing enough.
We closed up our borders to flights coming in from certain areas that were hit by the coronavirus and hit pretty hard. And we did it very early. A lot of people thought we shouldn't have done it that early, and we did, and it turned out to be a very good thing.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill have said the $2.5 billion the administration is requesting from Congress to deal with the outbreak is not enough, though Trump says if Congress chooses to allocate more, quote, we'll take it. Worldwide, more than 81,000 people have been sickened by the disease caused by the virus, more than 2,700 of whom have died. There were more wild swings on Wall Street today. NPR's Scott Horsley reports investors are struggling to make sense of the widening coronavirus epidemic.
Early in the day, it looked as if stocks might stage a rebound, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average regaining more than 400 of the more than 1,900 points it lost in two previous sessions. By the closing bell, though, stocks had slumped again. The Dow lost more than 123 points. The broader S&P 500 index was also down, while the tech-heavy Nasdaq closed in positive territory, but just barely. For the first time on Wednesday, more cases of coronavirus were reported outside China than in the country where the epidemic began. That includes the first known cases in Africa and Latin America and a growing number of cases in Germany. That has investors worried that the economic fallout could also be more widespread. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
Checking the numbers, the Dow was down 123 points. The Nasdaq closed up 15 points today. Officials in Milwaukee are confirming multiple fatalities during a shooting at the Molson Coors Brewing Company there today. Police were called to the scene this afternoon amid reports of a gunman. Here's Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett.
It is a horrible, horrible day for the employees here. It is a very rough day for anybody who is close to this situation.
Milwaukee police are scheduled to hold a news conference at this hour to provide additional details about the shooting. It took place at a sprawling complex that includes corporate offices and brewing facilities that employs more than 600 people. Bernie Sanders is going after Joe Biden following last night's debate in South Carolina. Sanders warning what he called a conventional campaign like the one being run by the former vice president will not defeat Donald Trump. Sanders made his remarks at a rally in North Charleston, South Carolina today, and attacking Biden's policies on trade such as NAFTA and his vote on the Iraq war. Sanders and Biden are vying for an edge in South Carolina ahead of the state's primary this weekend and the Super Tuesday slate of primaries and caucuses next week. You're listening to NPR. Egypt has held a state funeral for former President Hosni Mubarak, who died yesterday at the age of 91. As NPR's Jana Raff reports, the controversial president is being remembered as a war hero.
A horse-drawn carriage carried Mubarak's coffin, draped in the Egyptian flag. Behind the carriage, young men in uniform held glass cases containing his medals. Mubarak stepped down in 2011 after protests demanded an end to his 30 years of dictatorship. In death, he was remembered mostly for his role in the 1973 war with Israel, when Egyptian-led forces captured the Suez Canal. After stepping down, Mubarak spent years in prison before being released in 2017. His ouster paved the way for Egypt's first democratically elected government, and then a military coup toppling that government. The coup and a subsequent election brought to power a government considered even more repressive than Mubarak's. Jana Raff, NPR News.
A measure overwhelmingly approved by the House would make lynching a federal hate crime for the first time in U.S. history. The vote was 410-4, with 3 Republicans and the House's lone independent, Representative Amash, opposing the measure. The Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act was named for the 14-year-old teen who was lynched in Mississippi in the 1950s. The Senate approved similar legislation sponsored by California Democrat Kamala Harris last year, but the upper chamber will have to take up and pass the House's version, which will then go to the president's desk. Trump has said he's expected to sign it. Crude oil futures prices closed lower. Oil was down $1.17 a barrel in New York. I'm Jack Speer, NPR News in Washington.
Hi there. Welcome back to WBHM Digital Broadcasting. It is 5 minutes after the hour, and thank you for joining us. Before we go much farther, I got the neatest thing the other day, and I didn't even know it was coming yet. I have just received, and I have in my hot little hands here, the newest Nick Redfern book by Visible Ink Press. And it is Assassinations, the Plots, Politics, and Powers Behind History-Changing Murders. There is so much in here. It covers everything. You've got from JFK, Lee Harvey Oswald really kill him, or was Oswald the party he claimed to be? We've got Jack the Ripper. I mean, we're talking historical, fun, and interesting things. And you know Nick Redfern went into great detail. The man is a brilliant author. So it's available. It's got an ISBN number, so you can get that ordered and enjoy it, because you know what? This is a great book. That being said, we are talking about other greatness. We're talking paranormal experienced greatness. Right there at the Old Paulding Jail in Paulding, Ohio, owned by our very own Shelly Robertson, the host of Ghost Talk Radio, airing live every other Friday night here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. Shelly, I am so glad that you are here, because you have a whole great big to-do coming up. There's going to be a watch party. I'm coming up for it. We're just going to have such a great time.
I am so excited for you to be coming up for that. I know it's a track, it's a travel, but it's, I mean, we both are wanting to see how it turns out. You were there that week, and I was there that week, and we can't give out any spoilers, but I really think it's going to be a really great show.
Well, I think it would be hard-pressed not to be, and it must be fantastic, because the Travel Channel has actually turned this into a full 2-hour season premiere, with the caveat that the following week they'll go back to their normal time slot. So this is something that really took them aback, I think.
It is, and I was really impressed by the producers, the stars, everybody. They were so fab.
That was a team. And that was a brilliant team.
They were. Yes. They absolutely were, and they were so thorough in going through the history too.
Absolutely. And, something that I found remarkable is that every person on that team, from the lowest ranking person to the highest ranking person, they were so into making sure that the team as a whole looked great. And I just have to give a shout out to them, because
They were fantastic.
They were ethical, they were moral, they were professional, they were kind, they were smart. Their drone operation was astounding.
And
everything was cool.
They did everything with such thoroughness.
Yes, that was very impressive.
Yes,
nothing left to chance, no stone unturned.
No, they were fantastic, and actually I hated to see them leave. I will say that. I'm like, oh, you got to leave. You're like family now. I
know, right? Because they fostered that feeling. They were that kind of people.
Oh, fantastic. And Jack and Katrina were fantastic. The whole production crew. I mean, I know this is going to be a fabulous episode.
Well, I think it will be too. Because the jail is fabulous. Absolutely fabulous.
And they've put a lot of work into this episode too. I mean,
well, you'll just have a lot of time and treasure involved. Yeah.
Yes, they did. They put a lot into this and was very thorough. So I don't think
Don't you think they were shocked?
A little bit at times. I do, and honestly, I don't think a better crew could have came and featured the jail. Really, I mean, if anybody else wanted to come to the building, they better have their A game on. Really.
Well, I would say that you have worked with the best. And,
yeah, I think
now you know what it's supposed to look like.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. We weren't privy to the investigation parts, but that's going to be a surprise.
You were so bent.
I know, I wanted to be, but it is what it is, and so I can't wait. I saw the little teaser and I shared it with everybody, and when in the teaser, when they're calling out about Jack Osbourne, that stuff happens just like that, and even more detailed at times too. So I can't wait to see how all the spirits responded to them.
Well, I'm going to answer one of the questions in chat here. Denise wanted to know if the jail has been on television before, and it has not. This is the first time that the public will be able to actually see what it looks like, what the history is behind it. And, I mean, this place was overdue. And the fact that they became aware of it and reached out was just fantastic.
I was a little shocked myself. I asked him, I'm like, how did you find me in little rural Ohio,
Well, we had a couple of ideas about that, different ones.
Yeah.
And, we'll never know which one it was.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of one of those things. Things work out the way they're supposed to.
They absolutely do. And I just think it's going to be fabulous. I'm excited and I always tell the spirits that, and I even had this conversation with them, that they're going to be on TV, they're going to be movie stars now and stuff, because it is.
They responded too.
Yeah, and it's all about them,
Well, without them, there is nothing.
That's right. And that's what I tell them. You guys are the stars. People ain't coming here to see me. They're coming here to see you, Yeah.
And that was the truth.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. They know so much stuff about the sheriff was talking to me one evening about my cold. I'm like, do you have a home remedy or something? And I got into this coughing fit because I was really sick, and he's like, you need to breathe. I'm like, I know. I know.
In and out.
I am so sick right now. Do you got any advice? Because I'm one of those natural herbal remedy type of people, but at that moment I didn't have my stuff to make my tonic. And
I'm so glad you didn't. Because, that would have been so stinky.
But it works. It works so well. If you get a cold, sinus cold, chest cold, I'm just going to throw this out here for you, all right? Only because I haven't been to a doctor for an illness, and I can't tell you how many years. This here, what I'm going to share with you, will knock out all your cold stuff. I think you've even tried it once, haven't you, Kat?
I have, but I am going to preface this by Shelly is not a medical doctor, but she has used this and found that it helps her. So this is her thing. Okay, so what you take is 2 cloves of garlic,
put it through a press so it's, little pieces. Use 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper and 1 nice heaping tablespoon of honey. Mix it all up. Take a big tablespoon of that every 3 or 4 hours for the first couple of days, and then after that, a couple times a day. It knocks everything out. Honey is a natural antiviral. Cayenne pepper, believe it or not, I was on the verge of strep throat. It's got pain relieving properties in it, and your garlic is a natural antibiotic.
How much honey did you say you use?
Like a heaping tablespoon, where it's almost like gonna go over your tablespoon that you eat with, not one of those little measuring ones, a nice sized tablespoon that you would use at your dinner table. Yep. It doesn't taste the best, and you will smell like you're warding off vampires, but
so it's handy for that too.
Yes. If you're having a problem with vampires, it will keep them at bay.
Well, that is that actually is a brilliant home remedy. So thank you for sharing that. And I think that you have a lot of research involved in that aspect too. People don't know that you are just this super duper holistic person who
does
all the things. I love that.
There is, so much. My brain is just a sponge. That's all I can say. Everything to do with paranormal, everything to do with crime and killers and food additives and holistic healing. And I will just tell you, I'm just so engulfed in all of it.
Well, but you know what? That's part of the research. It's really fascinating to me that you do get so involved in every aspect of the paranormal. And I value our friendship so much because you're just that kind of person. You take that intensity to every aspect of your life. And I think that's just a rare commodity in today's world.
Well, and I value our friendship because sometimes you gotta ground me a little bit.
People listening who know me are going to be shocked by that.
Because I'm just, sometimes I get rash and everything, and you're just like, now let's think about this, and I'm like, okay, so I don't act all crazy.
Well, you know what? It's a good mix. We're very fortunate here at WBHM Digital Broadcasting because, our other host, Denise Pridemore, who is our Monday night show, The Paranormal Pride, is also a fantastic researcher. And she is also very intuitive. She's very, what's the right? She's very vested in this as well. We all bring a level of professionalism to this. We all have incredible experiences. We all have gifts. And I think that is part of what makes our shows also special.
Well, speaking of Denise, she's got a question. She's asking, does the jail give off an aura when it's going to be really active? Yeah, sometimes it does. I can get there some days when I get in, and we'll start hearing walking and stuff right away, and then I just know they must have missed me. That's what I think.
I could see that. Because it is relationships. What do you think makes them like that? I mean, is it because the jail was almost torn down, or do you think that what do you think created the relationship that you have with your spirits?
Well, they absolutely know I'm fixing the building up, and they know that everything I do is geared towards that building, and they absolutely know that it was about to be demolished at a point in time, and I'm not in that building or run events here and there to gain monetarily, because let me tell you, these little events, they help a little bit, and I got to save them up, but it's not making me rich, and that's not what I'm doing there. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
It's everything. Me and my husband are throwing everything pretty much that we own into that building and preserving its space, They know this.
Yes, they do know that.
And, there'll be times where somebody might be acting up over audio or something, and I just have a talk, and I'm like, well, you guys know why we're running this, because it's helping us fix up your space,
we have to get a break. I want to address this again, because we'll be right back.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk radio.
Listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
The time is 23 minutes after the hour. Well, that was an abrupt departure. Sorry about that, y'all. But, when we get started talking about the jail, time just disappears. I so enjoy there, and I'm so excited to see it get the recognition that it deserves. I think that you have already seen a change in people relevant to this announcement. But before we go there, I would like it if you would, follow up with what we were saying when I had to interrupt you. I'm so sorry.
I forget where we were at. We talk about so much. Where
we do talk about so much. I think that we were talking about them knowing that you were taking care of the building, redoing all the things, getting things up to speed, and that's part of what has helped fix the or create the relationship that you have.
Yeah, and I think, they know, they absolutely do know, and through conversations, and I think that's part of, not only that, I give them a level of respect, and I'm fixing their building up, and I think that's what's brought, I consider them friendships on.
Yes.
I do. I think that's what's allowed this to happen. I think that's what's allowed this to happen, and it's quite something. It's quite something when you are thinking of them as you do the living. It sounds insane, though, but
it doesn't sound insane because they interact with you in the same manner that the living would.
And it's not just my craziness. Lots of people who come there experience the same stuff that I'm talking about. And thank goodness they don't clam up when there's other people there, or I would look like a crazy woman.
But they don't.
No.
We were talking about Lori being in chat. Lori has a relationship there also.
Oh, yeah.
And
she does, and she's been there several times, and there's somebody who doesn't like to play nice so much as far as communicate and everything. And it's not the people in charge. We're figuring maybe it could have been an inmate. But the ladies, Audrey, the sheriff, they all respond to Lori. It's around those cell blocks. There's somebody within them that's not real keen with Lori, and I think it's because
absolutely it's because
yeah, her and her husband have both been in law enforcement stuff their careers, and it's so evidently it is an inmate.
Absolutely it is. But it's something that
she gets a lot of great evidence there, though. She really does.
She absolutely. Well, she's a great investigator. I have investigated with her at
I love
Mansfield, and yes, and she says in chat that she's not intimidated being in jail, so it makes her able to deal with that. And Dara in chat says that she knows what you're saying as far as the interaction. She has a location she goes to. She says hi to everyone there every time she even drives by. She doesn't know if they can hear her. I guarantee they can, but it makes her feel better.
Yeah, because you would be surprised. I've been able to prove to at least to myself and my team members that these spirits do absolutely travel and follow you, because one day I wanted to do a little session at a graveyard that's not that far from the jail. It's there in Paulding.
Mm-hmm.
So my team, we took some equipment over to the cemetery, and I'm like, let's see if we get anything from here. And I found a spot that I felt really good about because I'm, kind of sensitive. So
you think?
We sat down and we're turning the portal on and doing sessions. And who pops up? Howdy, guys. I'm like, Steve, is that you? Yep. And Matt. And I'm like, what are you doing here? It's not like, I mean, I'm like, that's great that you're talking with us. That's super. But, you know,
why are
I
you
was
here?
kind of wanting to see if anyone else was at the cemetery. So there you have that.
Did you get anyone else?
And I don't know, Kat, but I have lost sound for you. If you can hear me.
I can hear you. There we go. Is that better?
There we go. There we go.
Yay.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask you, did anyone else come and speak with you there? Because I think that cemetery is probably very active. Every time I go through there, I feel like I need to stop. I don't, because I'm traveling alone.
Well, that particular day, it was just Steve and Matt. And I was like, well, excuse me. I was like, okay, well, I absolutely know they follow us for absolute now, you know.
Mm-hmm. I just love that he does like the Andy Griffith hello.
Yeah.
I really do. I think that's so cool. And he's consistent.
Yes. And that way we always know it's him, too.
Yes.
And he'll say, it's Steve, you know, and we're like, hi, Steve, how you doing? Is Matt with you? So, yes, and Lori mentioned some other folks that she likes to investigate. And I just love Vicky and Garrett so much, too. And I know Kim and Johnny briefly. I don't know them as well, but I just love it when everybody gets to come.
And it really is almost like Old Home Week, because there are certain people that have an affinity for your jail, and I feel like the jail welcomes them too. I feel like it welcomes me when I come.
It does. And when you get energies from all the people that actually get the interaction, sometimes some very phenomenal things happen, you know?
Yes. I know that when I was talking about the show, because I shared your videos as well. And
yeah.
Heidi from South Carolina was like, I love there. That place is amazing. And everybody who responded, just they all feel that. And I thought that was special. We have another question in our WBHM-DB chat from Dara. And she says, do you think they can just come visit you wherever you are, even if you don't have gifts? I'm going to let you answer that. I have an opinion too, but I'd like to hear your answer.
I think they can, because I have found that to be true. And even if you don't have gifts, they can make it known to you, whether you've got any type of, I hate to use the word psychic. I really hate to use that. I'm like intuitive and a claircognizant and that type of thing. But they have a way of letting you know if they want you to know it. And do I think they can go anywhere they want? I'm pretty positive they can.
I would agree.
Yes.
But I do have a question for you out of chat. And it's from Carl. And Carl has some of the best questions. But he was curious. You okay?
Yes.
You need some of your stuff. But,
yes.
He was interested in knowing if the production company paid for the time that they were there to investigate and film for their show.
Well, I think anything like that falls under the non-disclosure agreement.
Okay.
So I'm not really going to be able to talk about any specifics like that, unfortunately, folks.
Well, that's okay, because you just have to absolutely honor that. You will have issues that you don't need. But I will say that again, I was so impressed with them. And they actually did include people with their activities and stuff. So
yes, they did, and it was great. It's great.
Yeah. So what? Well, let me check on that. We're doing great. I didn't want to ask a big question and then be going into our break, but Garrett, of course, is a psychic who investigates the jail.
Yes.
And, we have our own gifts that we use there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's interesting because there have been times that he is having an experience that is not matching mine. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that sometimes that's true for a reason. That sometimes, he's experiencing one person's reality while I'm experiencing someone else's. And of course, I never tell people that I can read things of that nature. But Garrett is brilliant at what he does. But I just find that so interesting. Do you think it's just because different individuals are communicating to us?
I think that's the case. I think maybe one spirit might be opening to him and one's opening to you. And I'll tell you what was funny the very first time I met Garrett, because my stuff comes from the living people. You know how I get everything from living people. The very first time when he came to the jail for an investigation, because I see everything in everybody's eyes. That's what happens for me.
Yes.
I looked at him and I'm like, oh crap, he is psychic. He's gifted. So before we started, and I didn't know that he was, I pulled him aside. I said, I already know that you're gifted and you're psychic, so help me out tonight. And he was like really shocked. And I'm like, I see this in people's eyes, that's the gift I have.
Yeah. But it's so aggravating because, like, you can't read me, and there are times I would really like you to be able to read me. If there's a situation, and it drives me crazy.
That's really tough too, and I don't know why I can't read you. Evidently, I'm not supposed to be able to read you, but there are times, I just even hear their name. If I see a photo, sometimes I just hear their name, blam, all this stuff comes about this person that I don't even know, that turns out that it's true. And I'm like, I don't know how that works. It just works.
It's curious, isn't it?
It is. It is. Or I'll be talking to somebody, and all of a sudden, a bunch of their stuff just starts coming. And I do readings here and there for people, and they're quite amazed. And I'm like, well, I think it's from eyes. I don't know much more to explain it other than that. I just,
the eyes are the mirror of the soul, right?
It is. It really is, at least for me. Yes, absolutely.
And, I have never understood what a particular trigger is for me to be able to do that. There's not one thing that I can point to. It's just a knowing.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
It has saved my hide a time or two, so thank you, universe. But
right?
It's a good thing. And,
I've even had people like, okay, try to test me and show me pictures of people I don't know, and I tell them all about them. And sometimes people are a little shocked when they want me to tell them what I see see about them. And I'm like, well, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure you want me to say? Because it could be good, bad, and ugly, It's just whatever comes.
Well, yeah. And I've never had somebody say something that I didn't anticipate. But it's a really strange experience because the large majority of people I ask to do something like that can't do it. And they'll tell me, I'm sorry, I can't get a read on you. And even Garrett, who is brilliant, has missed more than hit on me, which is really weird because I've seen him work, and he is brilliant, and his gifts are astounding. And he was...
Lori says Garrett calls his gift a curse. I don't know. I'm kind of glad that I've got this with living people. I just wish it was more so with the dead. I can't see their life like I can see.
It's because you can't see them yet.
Yeah, because I can't see their life like I can see the livings. It's so strange. I wish I could get to the point where I can know about them as well.
I have been so touched by people that get touched by readings. I like to sit back and watch when something is happening for someone else or something of that nature because it's interesting to see somebody else do things. I like to watch methodologies, but because no two readers really do it the same way. Everybody has their own thing. But I find it fascinating because I've been in your jail with people who could read the spirits.
Uh-huh.
And that is something to see because...
Well, it
is.
Confirmation. And sure. And that is pretty amazing when they're picking out. We had one gal come to the jail one time. Her and her boyfriend wanted to tour it, and she said that she was psychic. And I said, do you know anything about the building? She said, no, but I heard it's haunted, but I've always wanted to, when we come through town visiting family, I've always wanted to stop. And I said, okay, well, you say you're psychic? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, follow me. So I took her up to the second floor office. And I said, just look around. And she was feeling some anxiety. She's like, there's a lady that doesn't want me in here. I said, can you tell me a little bit about this lady? And the pieces of furniture and stuff are random up there, right?
Right.
She said, well, now she's sitting in that chair and she's saying that all this furniture is hers. Well, do you know what? The furniture does belong to this lady and she gave her description and stuff. And I'm like, that's amazing. This furniture belonged to Vincent's aunt who passed away.
Oh, wow. We have to take a break really quick, but that is astounding. We'll be right back, and I want to hear more about this. This is amazing. We'll be right back.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Welcome back to Paranormal Experienced. I am here with my guest, Shelly Robertson, the owner of the Old Paulding Jail, and just a brilliant person, a great researcher. And she's so innovative. She's created all kinds of technological equipment that she is using in her research, which is cool. If you have questions, this is our final segment, so you're going to need to get them up here. And I will say that
we can just talk all night, Kat. You know
we
that.
have. All day and all night.
Yes.
But if you want to find her, you can go to 187pi.com, and you can find her on Facebook. She's the host of Ghost Talk Radio here on WBHM. You can find her on Facebook under that, or under Shelly Burke Robertson, or under 187pi. Oh, and the jailbreak games.
Oh, yeah, you can.
So
there's all kinds of ways to find me.
She can run, but she can't hide. And, you know, I am so really thrilled that we're having this conversation. And I do want to say to our chat room that, yes, Brenda, we really missed you when you're gone. We have a
Yes.
regular listener and chatter who has monitored our chat room for some time now, who has moved all the way out to the West Coast. So, yes, we do miss her. And I'm glad she's in chat tonight. But what is, hands down, no questions asked, nothing else compares to it, what is your favorite experience that you have had in your jail?
I would have to say, and there's a couple of them. I would have to say when we're in the midst of something and the sheriff offers his advice. That is just amazing. There was a time when Vincent was putting in some wiring, and he needed certain connectors and to get the jail cameras to work again, the original ones, which are working. And he was like, well, if I get these connectors, I think I can convert it and make it all work. And the sheriff was standing right beside me, and it was so loud. He said, it won't work. I was like, oh my gosh, maybe
we should try something else.
But there's been instances like that just reinforces to me that they are there, they are present, they know what's going on. Me and Rhonda, one of my team members, was in the front history room one evening, and we were working on something, and it was quiet in the building. And sheriff comes into that room, and it was so loud. He says, "What's going on in here?" And me and Rhonda both, like, startled, looked at each other. She's like, "I take it you heard that." And I'm like, "Well, Sheriff, we're working on this. You want to come over and help?" You know?
Yes. That is just interesting. But he's got a proprietary nature about him because that's where he worked for so long.
Yes, that was his office, and we're in there working on projects, and he was like, "What's going on in here?" And we're like, "Oh, okay." It's instances like that, because, and they're startling, but they make me laugh because it's just like, oh my gosh, it's just reaffirming every time.
Well, it would be startling because nobody expects a lot of nothingness to be speaking to you.
Right? Exactly.
And, there were only 2 women in the place, so when a man's voice pops up, that would be disconcerting.
Yes. I think. He's never been aggressive towards me or threatening or anything like that, but
no.
I don't give reason for that either. And now my brother, he's been aggressive towards him, but my brother was not being the most respectful, so I told him, "You got to talk to him with respect." And he was talking some stuff, and one night, and he actually got grabbed, and it scared the daylights out of him. And
he got grabbed by the scruff of his neck, didn't he?
Yeah, by his neck. Yes, he was grabbed by his neck. And I'm like, you don't disrespect him. He is in charge. How many times do I have to tell you that? So I'm pretty certain if somebody wanted to do something, they could. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty positive of that too. And I'm going to tell you that it's not just because of that, but they can manipulate objects. And that's why when we were having that experience in the jail, that, they were striking things.
Yes.
And in the heat of the moment, it never dawned on me that they could strike me until after everything had finished up. And I was just like, oh.
And, I get that question. People say, "Well, aren't you afraid?" I said, "Look, you know what? No, I'm not afraid because I've got such a friendly relationship with them." I said, and some people will say, "Well, I get this every now and again. Well, demons disguise themselves till they gain your trust." I said, "You know what? They've had my trust from the beginning, and I'm in this building a lot by myself and even on staircases."
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Well, I have never experienced the things that are on the stairwell going up to the attic level. Which I find interesting because I sleep right below there. So I'm on those stairwells. And I'm passing that one all the time, bebopping in and out and stuff. And I've never seen those shadow figures that other people have caught there.
Oh,
and I'm a little disappointed.
We have got them quite often. We've filmed them. Had been up there on the 3rd floor doing a session, and we'd been up there probably a good, 30, 40 minutes. We'd been up there a while, and Vincent got the thermal camera out, and because they were seeing the shadows. Somebody was seeing them. So he got a thermal camera out to see if maybe we could see any temperature fluctuation. And like midway up the stairs was the heat imprint of feet, of shoes. Yes.
Interesting.
That was interesting. We've got on the FLIR camera this we call her Miss Lady. She's dressed in some really dated clothing up there at the top of the staircase. We've got her at the entrance to the kitchen. We got this one during the fall is a little disturbing. We got on FLIR Storm Night, we got a guy dragging a woman up the staircase, it looks like by her neck.
Get out of town.
No, that FLIR image is, I'm like, oh my gosh, who is that? And that's going up to the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
And that one was a little disturbing to me. So I'll just put it like that. Yeah.
Well, I find that really bizarre. I've never felt anything that would make me concerned through there. I don't feel afraid or concerned or feel that there's something, demonic ever. I do know the sheriff and Audrey, and a lot of times Miss Lady is on the 3rd floor. Yeah. You are cutting out a little bit.
But the capture that we got, that man and woman, that was, I am like, who are these people?
Interesting.
Are they transients? I don't know. I have no idea, but it was a little shocking.
I would see that. I would be surprised too. But I would say that they would almost have to be transient because I don't. Now I'm going to have to go back through everything and see if I have anything through there.
Yeah.
Go back through all that evidence and see if I can find anything from that 3rd floor. But I've never heard anything like unusual voices either, or a woman trying to get help or anything like that. But I'm going to be researching again when we get off the air.
I haven't got a woman calling out for help, but what was really interesting, I think Lori Dorsey was there the night we went to the 3rd floor, and we heard a baby crying up there. It just made like one cycle of cry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just like, wah, and that was it. And we're like, what? I have that recorded as well. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
That's always my take when I get something I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, Lori's saying in the chat, yes. And that was a little shocking. And so I'm like, well, who is this baby now?
Definitely.
That's the first time I'd got a baby cry up there. Audrey. We got this one little tiny girl who will sing once in a while, and it's not that often. It's only once in a great while you'll catch her. And Matt comes around with Steve, but we've never had a baby before.
That's so interesting.
And it was on the 3rd floor. So is that, somebody bringing that baby through transient? Because I'm telling you, there's strange things that happen up there that makes the cameras pulsate and the part of the wall kind of morphs. So I'm kind of thinking people come and go,
I think so too.
Through there.
Well, we are out of time, my friend.
Wow.
Tell people where they can watch your episode.
Okay. On on the Travel Channel, the show Portals to Hell with Jack Osbourne and Katrina. It will be airing March 13th at 9 p.m., and it's a 2-hour special. And I am so excited. I can't wait to watch it myself.
Me too. I'm excited about it. So, y'all, thank you so much for being here with us tonight. I hope that you will join the watch party online and be able to participate with us. We love comments and information and feedback.
Absolutely.
Always. And we will be back on Friday with Shelly for her Ghost Talk Radio. It will be a live episode. And thank you so much for being here. Y'all are the reason we do this stuff, right? We are absolutely not here just to entertain ourselves. We love having questions and comments. And we will catch you next time. Same cat time, same cat channel. Y'all have a great night and be that change. Manifest it. You've got this. It's what we were made for. Make the world you want to see. Good night.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.